Well, let's still stick with that story. Tonight, Bafana Bafana's participation in the Africa Cup of Nations will be tested against the #1 ranked side on the continent, and that is Morocco. The last time these two teams met, Bafana Bafana beat Morocco 2-1 in a dead rubber Africa Cup of Nations qualifier, which was played at the FNB Stadium in June last year. In the knockout stages of the tournament, things will be different though. And to help us talk about this, we have roped in a journalist, analyst and commentator, Khanyiso Tshwaku. Good evening, Khanyiso, and welcome to The Full View.
Good evening, Colin. Good evening to the viewers.
Sure. I don't know how many of us still have nails left because we are just so nervous and anxious as we wait for this round of 16 clash. I want us to first look at our opponents in terms of Morocco. What strengths do they possess that could actually destabilize the South African team?
Well, I've cut my nails already, so I don't know what I'll be chewing if, let's say, now the game gets into a position where it reaches Alex Ferguson levels. But look, Morocco have class all round. They are better than Bafana Bafana in every department. But remember that it's been a trending theme with this tournament itself, in that it's not about tactics. It's not about the team that's based on the day. It's about who wants it the most. I mean, we would have learned from yesterday's round of 16 game between Senegal and Cote d'Ivoire that Senegal was by far the better team, but the team that really wanted that win the most was Ivory Coast. They had the desire, they had the heart, and they showed it. And I think also this is shaping up to be a tournament that is pretty much favoring, you'd say, one to an extent, SADC and also West Africa, because now if you look at the West African contingent that's made the quarterfinals, it's actually quite interesting. So look, I mean, South Africa are underdogs, ranked underdogs, but it's also been a position that has that South African teams have thrived on. The moment South African teams have become favorites, especially Bafana Bafana in particular, they haven't always reacted well to the pressure of being a favorite. But once they put in a position where their backs against the wall, I mean, the round of 16 game against Egypt in 2019 was an apt example where they were the away team in every sense of the word. But then the Lord gave it, and the Lord took it away. I mean, that particular game. South Africa's going to need a hero. I suspect they'll need 11 heroes today, because you can't leave the duty of winning a round of 16 game to just one individual. It requires a team effort. It may require 11. It may require 16 if the entire bench is used. I kind of do agree with Hugo when he says he wants to wrap up the game in 90 minutes, but one feels that when you take a team like Morocco deep into extra time, they're not a team that will fancy the prospect of taking this game to penalties, knowing full well that even though Walid Regauri was very magnanimous in the press conference, the players will and should believe that South Africa is there for the beating. And the longer the game drags on, if the game goes to extra time, the longer that they may feel slightly frustrated that this game has gone on longer than it should have, and then it starts to become tricky for them. But the same could apply for South Africa, where they may run out of steam in extra time, and then Morocco may have the better legs, the better fitness, the better conditioning, then just see out the game.
Absolutely. And when you look at the Moroccans, also boosted by the news of course, their coach Walid Regauri, his ban lifted. But when you look at the pitch itself yesterday, from the presser that we're listening in on, the likes of Boufal and maybe Ziyech not making it into today's starting lineup, we are, of course, waiting for confirmation of that. But it still doesn't take away from the quality of that team, because you look at the likes of Ashraf Hakimi there, who is going to be pivotal. So they still cannot be underestimated, even though those star players may not form part of the lineup.
Yes. You may find that actually one of Morocco's best players, his first name escapes me, but his surname is Ounahi, the number 8. He's been the one, the player is the number 8 years, and he's been magnificent for Morocco in the tournament. He's probably been their game break, and I think he's probably the one player who would have used this tournament to put a name for himself. Most probably now, remember that regardless of whether that Boufal will be fit, whether Ziyech will be fit, you look at this Moroccan team, they will not be short of class in replacing those players. They've got Yusuf in Nasri. They've got class all over the pitch. I mean, you rank that team 1 to 11, it reeks of men against boys. But then again, as we've seen in this tournament, playing names and actually playing them actual on the field are two different things. And I suspect that Bafana Bafana, one, being the ranked underdogs, number one, two, being underrated, they almost probably feel that all they need to do is to just play above themselves, play beyond themselves. Because at the end of the day, if they get through to the quarterfinals, should they win today, anything is possible.
Absolutely. Of course, we are still worried about Khanyiso Tshwaku, hoping that he will form part of that starting lineup. But do you see, the likes of Themba Zwane really coming to the party, possibly winning his third Man of the Match award? The likes of Percy Tau, who really need to dominate such a fixture. Do you think it will go Bafana Bafana's way? What is your score prediction as we run out of time?
Look, they have no option but to rock up. They have no option but to rock up. They will never get a bigger game than this outside of the quarterfinals, the qualifiers, and making it to World Cup. So again, I'm not good with scores, but this is a game where I think will be decided in extra time.
Oh, it will be decided on extra time, just as we've seen with the few fixtures that, of course, took place yesterday. We saw that with Senegal and host Ivory Coast. Remember, Bafana Bafana up against Morocco. Kick-off for that encounter is 10 p.m. Our sister channel, SABC 1, will be broadcasting that match live. The winner of that encounter goes through to the quarterfinals, where they will take on Cape Verde. But that's where we'll leave it from the sports desk for this evening. Do enjoy the rest of the viewing on the channel. Good night.